Welcome to Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you plan with purpose and retire with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
That would be retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost. Thanks so much for streaming Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. My name is Mark Owens. Get all the information about Ricken Financial. You can find it here in the show notes. Hi, Heidi just got home about 10 minutes ago from a whirlwind travel. How you doing?
I'm a little tired, but I'm grateful for caffeine today. How are you, Mark?
I am good. I'm interested because we'll get into it. Last week, an amazing experience. Got to go down to the Bahamas. Incredible moments. Got to spend some time with some friends in the industry. Got to see some of the back office people. Really, really good times. Great pictures. Everybody had fun. And then you had to travel home.
Yeah. And, this is like my third year in a row when I go on my one vacation a year that I'll work on my work-life balance at some point in time, but I love my clients. So I'm happy to, when it doesn't feel like work, you keep working. But anyway, we take our vacation, third year in a row. We've had a pivot on the way home.
Right.
And, it's because I'm flying with my husband and he has the absolute worst luck when it comes to flying, but he still insists on flying the exact same airline every single time. So, maybe there's an issue here, but it took me 26 hours to get home.
Oh God. Oh, that just hurts. Wait, he's a pilot though. Like this, was it too big of a flight to take the Cessna down to the Bahamas?
He wanted to, and I said no.
Okay.
Because I'm like, are you really going to fly us back exhausted as hell at the end of a couple of days out in the sun and at all these events and talking to all these people and everything? And literally when we got on the bus to go to the airport on Sunday, he looked at me and he was like, you're right. I would be too exhausted to fly us home right now.
Yeah.
So
I get that. Before we get to, I want to hear about all your travel adventures or misadventures. When it comes to vacation, you mentioned work-life balance there for a second. Are you able to shut it down? Are you able to go to the beach or go to the lake or go to the mountains and get off the grid? Or do you always, okay, before we go out to dinner, let me do a quick check of email. Or I've got 5 minutes by the pool. Let me do a quick check of so-and-so.
I have a fully waterproof smartwatch now.
So the answer is no, I never shut it down.
No, I don't shut it down. But I will say someone reached out. Well, here's the other thing. Yes, we were on vacation, but there was a work component to it. So, for 4 hours, we were in the room having a meeting and everything. And I looked at my dad at that point in time and I'm like, I didn't bring my laptop into this room and I should have, because there are so many people I want to get back to and everything. But I will say, that's the power of having a phenomenal employee back here, Cassie, running the show. Yeah. I didn't worry this time. I knew that she had me covered, but there were a couple people that reached out via text and I just had to remind them, due to compliance, we cannot talk on text about business and to reach out to the office. I'm kind of proud of myself. This was the first time in probably 5 years I've gone on a vacation and I actually disconnected.
Nice.
Because I'm like, it's just 3 days. 3 business days I can disconnect,
right. If we can just connect the airline to getting you home or a flight
I know,
pattern,
right?
It would have been a great vacation. All right, so start from the beginning. So great vacation, incredible event, got to see some great people. Now it's time to head home. All right, pick up from there.
So we take a bus to the Bahamas airport. Mm-hmm. We check in. We go through security. We waited in line for an hour and 5 minutes at Wendy's to have lunch before we got on the flight. They're on island time around there, so y'all can't be in a rush for anything.
I get it.
And then make it to the gate, and we're waiting. And they find the inbound flight got there 20 minutes after we were supposed to leave. Mm-hmm. So we were a little delayed anyway, but we had a 3-hour layover in Philly. So I was not concerned.
Yeah.
So we finally get on the plane. We make it to Philly. We land and Steven's like, okay, we have 3 hours. Let's just go to the lounge. So we're on a walk to the furthest away lounge because he hadn't stepped foot in this one yet. And,
Got to see all
He's
of
got
them.
to check it all out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we
The
got
ones old.
notification that our flight's canceled.
Oh, God. Weather.
So then we hot-foot it to the closest lounge so that he
mechanical.
can get help.
Yeah.
Weather.
Okay.
Apparently that evening there were tornado warnings, watches, whatever in the St. Louis area.
Okay.
So my parents were on a different flight from us because, they kind of designated survivor it to make sure both of us don't die in the same plane crash.
I mean, I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were stuck in Chicago for like an extra hour, but Dad was like, this is not bad. We're just stuck here an extra hour, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we hot foot it and get there. And Steven's like, already the whole way there, he's looking at all the different flight options and everything. Thank God he knows more about the industry than I do. But we get there and he was like, hey, is there any way you can get us on? And he had like 5 options. And the woman's like feverishly looking through it. And she was like, there are 2 seats available on this one. It's on the opposite side of the airport and they close the doors in 4 minutes.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Yeah.
So in Philly, they do like sweeps, and the 7:30 sweep, we missed it.
Oh.
So she was like, we could get you out of DC at 4 a.m. So we would drive 2 hours to DC and then take a 4 a.m. and get home at 1 p.m. the next day. Or we could fly you through Charlotte on the 6 a.m. and you get home at noon. And we're like, great. So we took that option, and it's weather. So, they don't give you like a voucher or anything like that.
Yep.
And I just looked at Steve and I'm like, our 2 carry-ons had our dirty laundry in one of them and our tchotchkes from the vacation in the other one. And all of our clean laundry and our toiletries and everything are in the checked bag that we don't have access to now. So I've learned how to plan a little bit more effectively. But, we went to the hotel that he spent 21 days in earlier this year while he was in Philly for work.
Okay, so he at least knew the area.
Uh-huh. He was just upset that it was too late to order his favorite pizza place, but we DoorDashed some chili Philly cheesesteaks, if I can talk.
Right.
And then got about 5 hours of sleep and got up at 3:45 the next morning and headed out and made it to Charlotte. Made it on our flight to St. Louis, landed in St. Louis, and sat on the tarmac for an hour and 42 minutes.
It just never ends. I did a quick search.
Yeah.
I was curious. I was like, okay, so if you're going to drive to D.C., what about just driving home? And about 14 hours from Philly to St. Louis.
Oh, he thought that too. And I was like, if we're not flying because there are tornadoes, why would we drive through that?
Again, fair. I mean, he is a pilot.
And when we landed, the reason we were sitting for a while is because the ground crew couldn't work for a little over an hour in St. Louis due to lightning in the area.
Okay.
So,
All right. So
it's all good. The only thing that made me feel bad was, I'm out of the office for a couple days before that. So we had a tight schedule this week, and I had to reschedule about 6 people that I was supposed to be meeting with. So
from what time did the bus leave from the hotel in the Bahamas to the airport on Sunday?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. And what time did you pull into your driveway in St. Louis?
3 p.m.
The next day.
Yeah.
I hate that for you.
I know.
Remember when traveling was fun? Remember when flying wasn't a chore or a potential nightmare? Mm-hmm. But you're home. But you made it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You made a good point before we got started here. And it's almost like what adults have to deal with a lot. And that's pivoting. Heidi, you had to pivot. You have these conversations every single day.
Exactly. And you might have the best plan in the world, but there's stuff that happens that's outside of our control, and you need to pivot from that plan. And, we were talking about this before we jumped on here today, but you might have the best retirement plan in the world, well, what if market volatility eats away at it because you weren't actually matching your risk tolerance? Then maybe you didn't have the best retirement plan in the world, and you should reach out to Ricken Financial, and we can help you come up with one that meets your risk tolerance.
Right.
But like, what if you lose a spouse? You know, if you lose your spouse, that's going to change every single facet of your plan. Mm-hmm. And even if your plan includes the like, what if I no longer have this person in my life? You know, between that and some tax law changes and income needs changing, and maybe you lost a pension and some Social Security, that you're going to have to pivot in your plan. And, you know, the reason why we always write contingencies into the plans that we do every day is for those things that are out of our control, because we don't want you to retire to then have more financial stress, or to have to change your lifestyle in retirement because those what ifs hit you, you know?
Mm-hmm. What do you find when we talk about pivoting? What do you find that most people, as they either approach or get into retirement, what is the biggest cause of pivoting? Is it the market? Is it inflation? Is it health? Is it taxes? What do you find most often?
I will say what my experience recently has been the sandwich generation causing the pivot. You know, so you have all these grand ideas of what you want to do with your time in retirement. And then you make the money work for those ideas. Like, most people want to spend more time traveling in retirement and doing all the things that they didn't have the opportunity to do when they didn't have time. And what I have seen cause the biggest pivot there is an aged parent that now needs care.
Yeah.
Even if someone is in their home taking care of them 24/7, 365, someone has to quarterback and manage that care. And I've seen a lot of people pivot from their original retirement plan because they would feel awful leaving mom alone or dad alone or mom and dad alone and the what ifs, and they don't want to go on the plan or on the planned trips and everything anymore. And I mentioned the sandwich generation because it's caring for our parents and our kids. And the unfortunate reality is we have always seen people want to do more for the next generation. I feel like that's just in our human nature. You know, you want to do better for your kids than you had for yourself, even if you had a wonderful childhood and everything. But when your kids are adults and you need to pivot from your retirement plan because of financial mistakes they're making, or they lose their job and they need to move in with you, or, you know, they take advantage of your time and say, now that you're retired, you're going to full-time caregive for my children. You know, we've seen a lot of people who've had to pivot from the plan because they're caring for their parents and their kids or their grandkids.
Yeah.
And so, you know, some of that is in our control, but some of it's not.
Yeah. You talking earlier about pivoting your plan because of health. And I was telling you that when my dad passed away, him and my stepmom, his wife, they had this huge plan. She was retired. He was semi-retired. They had just bought a place down at the beach. He was going to continue working for a little bit. This was the new beach house. This is the retirement home. This is where the grandkids were going to come on vacation. This is where the kids going to come see him. And then Dad got sick. He passed away. And Kathy was like, okay, here's the plan. I'm sticking to the plan. But Heidi, after about 2 years, 2.5, 3 years of trying to stick to the plan, she was like, I can't do this anymore. This was our plan. This is not my plan. So she had to pivot and she sold the house and she came back home.
Well, we've seen that too. And the other thing is, you know, if you made all of these plans with your spouse, if your spouse is no longer there, a couple things happen. First of all, you're lonely and you miss your spouse and you wish that you had the person that you wanted to spend your time with. So that's going to change what you want to do with your purpose in retirement and with your time in retirement. But the other thing is, what if your spouse was the one that was the quarterback financially for your family and, you know, was the one that was really keyed in on all those financial decisions? If the onus is on you now to have to figure that out, and that was not your wheelhouse for 30, 40, 50 years, that's a huge pivot too, to now have to be in control of this and have to make some decisions. And, you know, when we compound that with the feelings of loneliness, it's tough. And I think a lot of people just for good, bad, or indifferent, a lot of people don't really realize the snowball effect of that loss.
Yeah.
And if I'm meeting with someone, we always ensure that both members of a couple are in our meetings. Mm-hmm. Even if there's 20, 30% of the people we meet with, one spouse does not even want to show up. They want nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
You have to know just the basics of everything. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I can't even imagine not being keyed in on any financial decision in a 40, 50, 60-year marriage. And then all of a sudden, overnight, I'm in control of everything. And I'm also grieving the loss of the most important person in my world.
Yeah.
Like, that's too much for one person to handle. So you got to have those contingency plans in place. And even if you still don't want to be the quarterback while you both are here, you have to at least know kind of what's going on so that if you did have to make those decisions one day, you know how to. And that's why I do my women's events is because more often than not, the women are the ones not making those big financial decisions. They do more of the day-to-day stuff. But, there's a very high probability if you're a female out there that you're going to have to plan solo one day. So I want you to at least be educated so you can make some of the right decisions if you do have to pivot and plan solo now.
And, it's not all negative as we talk about pivot too, because there may be a pivot in your plan because of a windfall or an inheritance or something, an unexpected joy coming into your life, causing you to pivot your entire plan.
We're an emotional family. We plan financially without emotion, but there are things that occur in our clients' lives that cause an emotional reaction at times. And I have a client whose children had gone through 3 rounds of IVF and were trying for grandbabies. And they just finally decided it's just not in the cards. So they were doing a lot more things. Their goal was always to leave money to the next generation and then help pay for grandkids' education and all these things. And they were like, well, it looks like we're never going to have grandbabies. So they pivoted their plan a little bit. And then all of a sudden, they got pregnant. Yeah. And what an amazing windfall that they now have the grandkids that they get to spoil and that, they get to do all the things that they wanted to do with. So that's awesome. I also meet with a lot of people. The older generation doesn't talk money. So we meet with a lot of people who have no idea that there is an inheritance that they're receiving until mom and dad are gone. And then all of a sudden, or my favorite, my client's uncle was one of those guys that everyone thought he was destitute. He never spent money on anything. Yeah. And now all of the nieces and nephews have had an incredible windfall because of their uncle. But sometimes, yes, we don't want to lose someone to have a windfall like that, but sometimes we have an unexpected inheritance and that can really change the game too. And maybe we have more money that provides stability in retirement. Maybe you have another stream of income coming in now because of that. There's so many different things that can occur here. Or if a stock sells and you make a lot of dough, there's a lot of things that can happen positively too that can increase that purpose budget of, our travel and what if you want to buy the second house and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there are a lot of things that are going to affect us every single day. Sure. And I'll tell you, as we sit here, and I was coming up with a mental list of all the different things that could cause you to pivot in retirement. I'm sure there's probably 50 things that don't even exist today that are going to cause our clients to pivot. So you just have to be adaptable and ready for a little bit of change, but change is tough.
And there's something, and we say it all the time here on Kicking with the Rickens. They live here, they work here, they play here. They love the community of St. Louis. They surround themselves, or they, really get involved with charities and baseball games, and they love being part of the community. And there's something about, as you were just mentioning, when a spouse passes away, that the first call, friends, family, and then the team at Ricken Financial, because they're going to be there for you for situations like this. They're going to be a shoulder to cry on. They're going to help you understand as you're having to pivot to this new phase of life. You're not going to get that from a big box firm. You're not going to get that from an 800 number, because sometimes pivoting could be just pivot away to a boutique firm like Ricken Financial and away
Yeah.
from. So that's why you offer that second opinion service for somebody who's looking for something a little more family oriented.
Of course. And I also mentioned it earlier. And, I have this conversation quite a bit too. A lot of people think they might have the best plan in the world because they've planned for that accumulation phase of life while you're putting everything together to be able to retire one day. But it takes a different skill set to then live on that and decumulate the funds and, set up the income plan and be in that second phase of life in retirement. And when the onus is now on you financially to figure all of that out, sometimes you need a financial quarterback.
Yeah.
And, if the person you're working with can't help you with the tax plan and the investment plan and the income plan and your life insurance plan and your long-term care and your health care and the estate and legacy and what blah, 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 it goes on and on and on, then you probably don't have a financial quarterback on your side. And so that's why what we do is because we're here to quarterback that situation. And if you do lose your spouse, we're here to help you pivot the plan. And if you don't lose your spouse and you have this wonderful life, we're also here to celebrate the wins together, And it's a lot to pivot solo.
Right.
But when you have someone that you can throw it in the wind and say, hey, this is going on, that you can rely on to help you figure out what that snowball effect would be to your plan, it can make life a little bit easier. So that's why we do what we do. And that's why I don't have a work-life balance. I love so much of what I do. It is my life.
Mm-hmm.
My work is my life. And when you see the difference you can help make in a different family that becomes your own family, you don't feel like you're working.
That's right. Great point. Heidi, I think that's a good place to hit pause here this week on Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement podcast. And we say it every weekend. If you know somebody that's maybe just had some frustrations with a big box firm or just maybe looking to pivot, we invite you to share this show with somebody who may want or need the information. You can always get more information at rickenfinancial.com. You can find that and all the contact information here in the show notes. Well, Heidi, I'm glad you made it home safe because there's nothing more uncomfortable than sleep in an airport. You would think as much time as we spend in airports, they would make the chairs a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, yeah. And they don't. That's why we looked at each other and I'm like, we're getting a hotel.
I get it. Did you see? I saw we have it in Atlanta. They do have the lounges now where it's just nap lounges. And it's like $50 for an hour and you just get your own little pod where you can go in there and it's got like a massage chair and you just go in there and put your head back and go. So basically they're charging you to relax.
Who knew that we would ever be paying for relaxation in a nap?
I mean, I'm a capitalist. I understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, come on. My dogs are tired. I'm tired of people and just want to eat something other than a biscotti cookie. Help me out here.
I know, right?
All the information, you can find it here in the show notes. I'm glad you had a great time. And more importantly, I'm glad you got home safe. With that being said, let's hit pause. We'll be back next week. Heidi, thank you for the education. Thank you for the information. Before we get out of here, take us home.
Every day's a holiday and life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.